Hello everybody, welcome to Pralines, Deliciousness from the World of Art. The protagonist of this episode is Bruno Giovanni Orfeo Ceccobelli, born in 1952 in Todi. His full name carries a destiny. Bruno, or dark brown, refers to both the obscure color and the inner being. Giovanni, or Saint John the Evangelist, is the author of the Apocalypse, a book rich of mysterious symbolism. Orfeo, or Orpheus, is the poet who descends to the underworld in search of his pride and, to some extent, also his ego. What's more, Ceccobelli feels intimately attached to the countryside, Umbria, where he spent his childhood years. His artistic vocation manifests itself early in life. At the elementary school, he wins the first prize at a painting contest, which propels him to take up the study of art. At age 12, he moves to Rome. There, he attends the Liceo Artistico, then the Academy of Fine Arts, where he graduates in set design, but principally where he meets Todi. Scialoia has a charismatic personality. He is an original poet, but above all, an eminent artist who, during his stay in America, gets into contact with the protagonists of action painting. Back to Rome, he brings a gust of novelties and becomes one of the references of the epoch. Alongside his artistic research, Ceccobelli enriches his own knowledge by frequently visiting the Theosophical and Masonic groups with whom he explores the doctrines that give major importance to the communicative value of symbols. The symbol, according to some doctrines, would always impress a religious content. This idea is put in evidence through René Guénon's works. The symbol provides us with a sensitive basis to elevate ourselves to a superior level. Accordingly, nature is conceived as part of the divine creation. Baudelaire compares it to a temple imbued with symbols. Thus, the contemplation of nature itself connects us with a spiritual dimension. Ceccobelli further believes that every person is endowed with a mission, and the mission of the artist is to interpret the language of symbols, and by grace to reveal the beauty to the universe. His early works feature the languages of the mainstream art world. Especially as a set designer, he loves making installations, occupying the space, which further underlines the importance of the three-dimensionality through the incorporation of found objects. Not by chance, he mainly adopts the brown color of bitumen, together with other materials such as wax and ash. Equally important is his participation in various shows of the avant-garde theatre group named La Gaia Scienza, directed by Giorgio Barberio Cocsetti. On personal as well as on Via degli Ausoni group levels, Ceccobelli obtains overwhelming success over the 80s with memorable worldwide exhibitions. At the beginning of the 90s, there are two events that affect the course of his extensive career. The first one is his return to Todi. At a certain point, he can't resist the calling of the land of his birth. He's nourished by this land. He feels to be made up of its chemical elements. The second one is his trip to Senegal, where he discovers a new perception of colors through the light of the equatorial areas. From this moment onwards, Ceccobelli realizes mostly works on paper, a suitable art form for a free interpretation of his rubric of symbols gathered over the years. But to him, every single artwork stands out not only as the realization of a well-conceived artifact, but also as the story, the radiography of himself as a human being, an artist at a given moment. The work I'm presenting you offers some insight into his compositional system. So, let's start with the title, Assunzione Umbra, or Umbrian Assumption. Umbra refers to his land, Umbria, and the natural elements that that compose it. It also reminds us of the Latin word for shadow. It brings to mind the assumption of the Virgin Mary into heaven. But in this case, we are not dealing with a Christian context, but an alchemical one. And the Virgin is an essential sign, a kind of embryo represented with a round head and an elongated body. The darker color can be associated to Nicredo, the initial stage of the alchemical process, characterized also by the feeling of melancholy that ultimately prepares us for an innermost search. In alchemy, virginity and innocence are regarded as two primary qualities for a spiritual transformation. In effect, only the innocent can face own challenges, whereas the corrupted are destined to succumb to the circumstances, to the habits, to all surrounding them. Without innocence, there is no courage. Paradoxically, without virginity, there is not even virility. Moreover, virginity and virility are words that share the same root. Vir in Latin means man. The Virgin is represented inside a grand V, indicating an upward movement to a cherub who greets her with outspread wings in an atmosphere bathed in luminous colors that evokes the transformational process of common materials into gold. This exceptional artwork features an alchemical ascension, a purification, a theme so close to Bruno Ceccobelli, an artist who, with courage, has incorporated into his work a kind of antique symbolism rich of infinite evocations. I stop here. Thank you for listening. Don't miss the next episode of Pralines, Deliciousness from the World of Art.